my pleasure to have with me once again Father Mark Haydu, patron of the arts for the Vatican Museum. He's got 2 books that have been regarded as Catholic Books of the Year. They're meditations on art, Vatican art. One is all about angels, one is more general. These particular books not only show us these magnificent works of art, but they're coordinated with Scripture. There's a reflection on the imagery as well as reflection on the Scripture passages. There's also concluding prayer. There's reflective questions that you can ask. That's the kind of work that Mark does. What do you do as director of the Patron of the Arts, the Vatican Museum?
We coordinate between all of the supporters of the Vatican Museum's donors who help pay for restoration of the Vatican collection. So we have hundreds of thousands of pieces in the collection that popes have received and patronized over the years artists to produce. And all of that means maintained, and so that's what I coordinate between the curators, director of the museums, and our donors, mostly in the U.S.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this now?
Been doing it 8 years.
8 years. Are people more responsive today to what you're doing than they were 8 years ago? In other words, do they see not only that this is great art that they're restoring and protecting, but do they see the evangelical quality to this?
I think more and more it's really the spirit with which I promote the patrons is that it's preserving the art, but we can do so much more with the art by evangelizing through art, sharing the faith through art. And so our donors do have that heart as well. Some of them aren't particularly practicing, but all of them, if they appreciate the arts, they appreciate the communicating power of the arts. And so they want it to communicate. St. Thomas Aquinas, when he talks about beauty, one of the characteristics of beauty is clarity, claritas. And really restoration works on that level. If you have a beautiful painting but the lights are off, you can't see it because it can't clearly communicate its beauty. So restoration helps us to do that, and then it has the power to impact and communicate its message.
A lot of people would wonder, I mean, we're the Catholic Church, so most of our art, though, is European. How does that work when you go to Africa or Asia?
One of the more recent museums founded at the Vatican Museums was back in the 1930s, which was the Missionary Museum. And it's actually the collection that has the most number of pieces, over 100,000 pieces. Pius IX, when the Vatican decided to participate in the World's Fair that was happening that year, he invited all the missionaries in the world to send pieces from the cultures that they were serving. Totem poles and Inuit and religious had to be sacred art. What that highlighted, and many people don't realize, is people all around the world, first signs of a culture is religious art, sacred art, to worship.
That's what
first thing a group wants to do is express what they believe in common that keeps them together. It's a very recent phenomenon that we use art decoratively. For the Greeks and Romans, it was their statues of their gods. It was for worship. It was for sacrifice. If the Egyptian culture as well, and it was for the dead. It was to give them instructions in the afterlife, the tombs and the sarcophagi and the pyramids. And so art has always been religious. It's born from within the human person, and inside the human person is essentially religious. And I think part of that goes back to something that was stated in Vatican II, is God reveals the truth about man, which is from a document that we know also that at that time Carol Wojtyła helped pen. God is the best one to inform us what does it mean to be fully human. And so the arts, which are a human expression, a human reflection on the dynamics, the drama of the human experience, without that connection to God, you lose a bit. It's almost like wanting to paint but with 2 or 3 colors.
You don't have all the colors. That's
you don't have all the colors. You don't have all the things available to you. God enlightens and empowers. And look at Western culture, beauty. Where did this come from? Where did this capacity come from? It's impossible to just be a chemical reaction within the human. It's not purely material.
Loses all meaning.
Spiritual.